I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Happy New Year's Eve to all you guys out there who are watching live. I'm Dave Palumbo, of course, and this is the final Heavy Muscle radio show of the year, and it's going to be a great one. Whoever around is going to be joining us, but really, we do have a star-studded cast because bodybuilding legend and Hall of Famer and my good friend Kevin Levrone is joining us tonight. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Great
for
to be
taking
here,
time out
man.
of your New Year's Eve celebrations to join us, man. That was very nice of you.
No problem. It's a safe place. You know, we just normally stay home.
That's right. No trouble. I think.
No, definitely.
We're also, of course, joined by Larry Pollack and Armon Adibi. I had to ask you, were you ever one of these guys that went out on New Year's Eve? Because I know when I was bodybuilding, I would just either lay low, or I think early in my career, I was bouncing on New Year's Eve, just to make money and stuff.
No, I didn't do anything. We were on the contract, man. So it was right. I think around this time, New Year's, we're trying to, January, training for the Arnold Classic.
That's right. You'd be dieting right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What the heck is that? Larry, you making a shake over there or something?
No, I was blasting the podcast on Instagram, and some video popped up.
Larry, what did you used to do on New Year's? I know now you don't do anything. Obviously, we're old now. We don't go out.
Oh, man. I did everything.
Oh, you were like a crazy guy on New Year's Eve?
I don't know about crazy, but I mean, growing up, I bounced in nightclubs.
Yeah.
And then later, I always did something.
Right.
I was in Las Vegas or God knows where.
Yeah. Armon, do you ever have any crazy, you always have some crazy story that's happened to you somewhere?
I usually just work New Year's, bouncing too. I bounced up until 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. Then I quit. I had a real bad incident. Then I quit because it got wasn't worth the money. So
I remember New Year's Eve, they would pay double time. So that's why I like to work on New Year's. At least when I had no money in the beginning, I used to do that. And then you kind of get
to work the line too, so you can make more money. People in the line.
Yeah. I only did it for 2 years though. I didn't really like it. I didn't really like beating people up. Some of these bouncers like their job way, way too much.
You really can't beat them. I mean, they can sue you, and you got to be really careful because the law is you're supposed to, talk.
In the 90s, you could do whatever you wanted.
Well, in the 90s.
Beat people up in the 90s, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I think, definitely for sure. New Year's is always exciting because I think people, if they're normally drinkers, they just drink more. Everybody goes to the limit on New Year's. Yeah. It's just all out, right? Yeah. So I can imagine what it used to be like, or when you guys are out there bouncing on New Year's. I mean, that had to be one of the most exciting extravaganzas to ever witness, So.
It was a big ripoff too, New Year's. I remember the clubs always charged triple what they normally would, or quadruple. They'd give you a free food buffet that no one was eating because everyone was just drinking. And,
$200 in Dallas right now. $200.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Did they even raise drinks up on New Year's?
Yeah, usually at the clubs they'd pass out. If you pay $200 to get in, they'd give you a champagne glass and you'd toast everyone and everything like that. But it was, it's really for clubs. It's a money making place. I remember going to the city a few times, and with friends who wanted to go out. These guys had money, and I mean, they dropped $10,000, to get 10 of us into a club, and it was expensive. Bottles,
buying tables and bottles.
Yeah, it was.
A regular bottle of vodka normally costs what, $35 or $27 back then. They sell it for what, $3.75 days?
Yeah, it was $350 a bottle or something like that. It was crazy.
It's $1,500 now.
Is it that much? Holy shit!
Yeah, it's $1,500.
That's crazy.
What?
Yeah,
for a bottle of vodka?
Yeah,
when you get a table, You got to do that to get a table. So
everyone wants to be in the VIP section, and it's like I think it's more of like a status thing to to say, hey, I'm going to be in the club in the VIP section with. And they always get like one celebrity to come to the club, so that everyone wants to go there. Just I heard this guy's going to be here, and this DJ spinning. I remember the sound. I think I went to the Sound Factory once. I got to ask Valentino about that. I think they used to have New Year's Eve parties too that were pretty crazy, but their parties wouldn't start till like 5 a.m. It's crazy.
I used to set up the Europa after party in Dallas.
Right.
The manager Matt, he used to have me like set it up. He thought I knew a lot of people, which I guess I did. But
right.
Kevin, you were there you came there one year. I let you in. You were by yourself. You came by yourself. In Dallas. It's probably, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago.
Do you remember that, Kev?
Probably
Dallas
not.
Europa after party.
Phil Heath was there. Phil Heath was wild. He was going nuts in the club that night. But yeah.
Craig Titus used to throw the craziest parties actually back in the day. But
I'm sure.
That was back in probably around 2002, 2003, and that time frame. But then it kind of died off after that. Before we get into I want to talk about the best stories of 2023, but I want to just mention that we have a Species Nutrition New Year's sale. It's going to take place tomorrow only, and it's going to be 30% off the entire speciesnutrition.com website if you put the coupon code 2024, and that's 2024 on checkout. You get 30% off. You spend $50 or more, after the sale is over, after you've already got the discount, $50 or more, you can either get a free Isolized cookies and cream, or you can get a free fruit punch Fiberlize. So
whoa, amazing!
If you spend $30 or $50 or more. And then, obviously, you're going to get the 30% off the entire website, with the 2024. Who's making all that? Is that you, Mr. G? Stop making noise. I'm doing my sales pitch here. So it's going to be for New Year's only while supplies last. Spend $50 or more, you get a free Fiberlize fruit punch flavor or cookies and cream 22 serving while supplies last. And you'll get 30% off the entire site if you use the coupon code 2024. Free shipping on orders in the continental United States. If you spend more than $100. So check that out. That'll be all day New Year's Day, and then that'll be it. So it's a one-day sale. So check it out. All right.
All day. What's that coupon code again, Dave?
2024.
2024.
Yeah.
Don't forget to press the like button and the subscribe button.
What are you doing over there? Hold on. What happened to Levrone? We lost him. I think you scared Levrone away. Mr.
No,
Why do you have the camera on your ceiling fan and I can't see your face?
You can see my face.
No, not really. I kind of see the top of your hat.
All right, hold on. Let me see.
Can you can't you see what you're looking at? Where did Levrone?
Oh, you know what? The stupid camera doesn't work.
I think you really scared Levrone away. I knew this would happen.
It looks like a horror film. You're about to kill somebody.
You know what it is? My stupid the camera I got. I don't have my camera guy with me, so I'm at Mike's house. I'm in the back on the golf course. They're shooting off fireworks and stuff.
Oh my God.
Oh, Kevin, where is Kevin anyways?
I don't know. We lost him for a second.
No, is he in the U.S.
No,
now?
he's in Maryland. He's at his home. Let me text him again so we can get him back here.
Larry, you ever use injectable L-carnitine?
I have, and I've heard about it a lot, but I haven't tried it.
Kids are crazy about it now. Like, all I get asked is about like injectable L-carnitine. And I'm like, a lot of naturals are into it. I'm like, it's like they're like, isn't like the holy grail of burning fat? I'm like, I mean, it gets a little bit better absorption, but not. I mean, we used to use it back in the day. Remember? Did you ever use Cardispan, Dave? Cardispan?
Yeah, that was like was that a prescription version of it? Hey, Kev.
Yeah, from Mexico. It had L-carnitine and something else that we didn't know what it was, but it actually worked. I don't know what was in it though.
George, why are you calling me? You're calling me on your phone, George. Come on, get your act together over there.
It's together.
You know what? I've been getting a lot of people asking me also, Armand, about injectable L-carnitine.
Yeah.
I don't know what the big craze is. You know, Kevin, you've seen this probably over the years. There's always like some supplement that's like the cool supplement of the day. where everyone's like that's all they talk about how great it is, and then it kind of goes out of fashion, and then no one hears about it for like 20 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
L-carnitine's job, believe it or not, inside the cell, is to transport long chain fats into the mitochondria, which is where they're burned for energy. So fats get oxidized inside the mitochondria of the cell. In order to get in there, you need L-carnitine. So if you have an L-carnitine deficiency, you might not be transporting long chain fatty acids, you know, into the mitochondria at optimal rates. So in those cases, taking some supplementation of L-carnitine can help out. Not many people, if you eat a lot of red meat and stuff like that, are deficient in L-carnitine. However, the problem with the oral L-carnitine, believe it or not, is it's not that absorbable orally. So when you inject it, like intramuscularly, it goes right into the bloodstream. So its absorption rate is a little better. But I haven't seen too many people think about it. Most bodybuilders eat like 6 times a day. So they probably get enough L-carnitine in the foods they're eating, the chicken and the meat. If you happen to be like a fish eater only, or you only do whey protein and eggs, you might be a little deficient and you might notice a little boost from it. But I think the claims that people are making about it doing pretty much everything from healing them to burning fat to this to that, I think they're a little over exaggerated.
Do you know how much of it that they're talking about that actually you need, or is there a window?
What are you hearing, Armon, in terms of dosages that people are taking?
They're just shooting as much as they can.
Wait.
Wherever they can, like spot injecting. I was at the gym yesterday.
Yeah, they think it burns fat like wherever you inject it, which is not true. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I had 3 kids ask me, 3 different kids ask me. They follow me on TikTok. They're like, asking me about it. I was like, "You're going to notice much? Not really. You know,
no.
Does it work? Yeah, it works. It's L-carnitine, but it's not like it's like the holy grail of like naturals. They think they're going to use this and it's going to just strip the fat off of them. One kid was like 300 pounds asking me, this L-carnitine burns fat.
Right.
I'm like,
I know people were taking 1 to 2 grams orally, per day. That's usually an oral dosage. I know that Titan Medical Center sells injectable L-carnitine, and I have some in my refrigerator that they sent me that I used a couple times just to see how it felt, because I wanted to see what all the hype was about, and I didn't feel much of a difference. But I'm probably not L-carnitine deficient, so I think some people might get better results from it, because depending on what the levels of their L-carnitine in their body are, there are people who are definitely deficient. Oh, we got a tip already. We'll do that.
How about just the diet? How about that? Eating properly.
Oh, we got a Levrone question here and the guy paid $5 for it. So let's Kevin, when you were in your band days, did you drink? And do you still jam? They want to know.
Oh, you mean when I was getting ready to go on stage and play music?
Yeah, like when you were in the band.
Sure, yeah, of course. Yeah.
What was your choice of drink back then?
Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola, of course.
Regular Coke or Diet Coke?
Yeah, regular Coke. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, you were hardcore. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still play?
Every now and then I'll play around. Right?
Yeah.
Play with the piano and stuff like that. Yeah.
I know you play piano. And obviously we know you're singing because you just did that music video the other day. That we put up.
Yeah. That keeps me somewhat. It's my hobby, man. It keeps me sanitized.
Kevin's like a Renaissance man. He does dabbles in a little everything. And if you ask him, if you talk to him long enough, you'll find that he has other skills that you don't know he has that he doesn't even mention. Because
he's an artist, Dave.
Yes.
He's not, and whether it's with his body or remember the last time I saw you, Kevin, was at the Arnold, and when we had the stage with MD, and you just finished acting. Remember you were in it?
Yes. Yeah.
You came up on stage, I think, and took the
microphone.
Kevin, what would you do? You would compete, and then you would travel with full blown for how many months and not work out?
Probably about 3 months, 3.5 months. Well, I wouldn't work out for about, I don't know, 7 months maybe.
Oh wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. But actually, you know what? As people say, if you had to train all year round, I got burnt out really quick. I probably would have reached my peak really fast because my body was hyper responding and everything. So I think it probably helped me when I took off and let my body go down and then boom, come back like that. I think it helped.
I don't think you would have done it if you didn't think your body. Once you realized that your body came right back like that, that obviously was like your superpower almost. Like you could, you know.
But it was crazy how I even stumbled across that, because I tore my chest and it didn't work out for 6 or 7 months, you know.
Nothing.
And my body atrophied and everything went away.
Right.
And then they're like, well, you got to be on stage. Back then, the Mr. Olympia was in September. You got to be on stage or else you're going to lose your contract. Link Cartwright was blowing my phone up, and Joe Eden, you got to go out there. It was like, oh, man, flies on you know what. I was like, shit, man. So then I was like, oh, man. So I started doing push-ups in June, July, August, September. Somehow September, I was back on stage.
He was doing push-ups in June, and he was on the Olympia stage. What'd you take, 4th?
I got 5th that year.
Okay. That's
when I knew. That's when I knew, man. I was like, what in the world just happened? Because I got second in Olympia, and then I tore my pec, and I just stopped training because I couldn't do anything. I was like in this thing like this, you know, and I had to have 2 operations. One was 12 hours, the other one was 8 hours because it got infected.
Oh,
and that just hindered everything. Yeah, my whole right side atrophied. I had to learn how to do everything with my right hand. I mean, my left arm. So I couldn't even do a push-up because I blew out my pectoralis major and minor and snapped my tendon also.
Oh, you did?
Snapped from it came, you know, detached to everything. So it was really a.
That surgeon did a good job on you. He really did a good job fixing it. If it was that severe.
He went underneath my.
You didn't have a scar. You didn't have a scar.
He didn't cut me here. And all the guys previously, you know, before me, they got cut here, and that's why I think it had something to do with the way that they looked. The repair wasn't really normal. You know what I mean?
Right,
you could tell. So he went in underneath my armpit and opened up a dead body first, and he said, "Hey, I can do it." So
is that what they said? He practiced on that?
He did. He said I opened up a cadaver and I figured out that I can get to it. I said, "You did that?" I said, "Man, you're crazy, just like me." So kind of worked out.
You got lucky, man.
I got lucky. I got real lucky. Yeah, he's actually my orthopedic surgeon to this day. You know?
Oh, you still see him? Wow, he must have been young.
I still see him, man. I still see him. Yeah.
You know, those guys that were competing against you had no clue how severe your pec injury was. They probably thought you were faking the whole thing because.
Well, they thought I was bullshitting.
Because you didn't. Yeah. You couldn't tell the difference really. I mean, you had a little divot there, but it wasn't much of a. No one would have believed you that if you would have told me I only trained 8 weeks or 10 weeks for the show or something.
Like it blew out. I was benching 600 pounds, and 600-pound lift off. It was one guy behind me,
right?
And it came down, and I went to push it up, and I went up, and then I came down for a second rep, and halfway up, I just heard it rip like you could just. I mean, that's 600 pounds, man.
Yeah.
And he was pulling off, and I was pushing. It was, and I knew what happened because I heard it. You can just hear it ripping through your body and everything. Right. I was like, shit, man. I went in the bathroom. It was in the wintertime. Went in the bathroom, put on a hoodie, and drove right to the hospital.
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I didn't want to tell anybody anything because when you tell someone you tore your pec, it's over.
Career's over. Yeah.
Let's forget about it.
Was it painful, Kev? Were you in a lot of pain or you?
Nah, it wasn't a lot of pain. It was this. I was pissed off. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I was scared. I think I called Jim May and I told him I bruised my chest doing 50-pound dumbbell flies. So that was a lie.
Yeah, I was lifting 25 pounds.
Because if you say you blew it out, he's well, how did you do it? I was like, I was just doing some flies. I don't want to say benching 600.
Like, what are you doing? What are you crazy?
Yeah, because
I haven't lifted some big weights back in the day. Yeah.
Well, in other sports,
it's a freaky thing. Yeah. But I've learned so much from it, though. I've learned to, just to trust your instincts. People tell you can't do something. They don't know shit, right? And the mind, man, going through that and facing losing your contract,
Right.
your whole body's just going through this whole transition. You get depressed, you just go to that dark place, and and you don't know what's going to happen. I had no idea what I was going to look like because I went down to 224 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was my first experience of the transition from going down and back up. It took me 7 months to go from 248. That's where I was when I came home, and to lose 30 pounds of muscle. It went like that, and I didn't know. I didn't know if this thing was even attached right or anything. So it was a mental phase, and I knew that if I didn't go back and compete, I would have lost my contract. And if I didn't do well, then my career would have been over. But it was like I didn't know if he fixed me or nothing. So I was tripping for a while, man. I was like,
I don't blame you. You were at the top of your career too already. This is your second at the Olympia behind you.
And then at fifth, and then everybody thought I was bullshitting. So then that's when I decided to bring the doctor to the Arnold Classic because I had 6 more months to train.
Right.
And I said, if I got 6 months, I'm gonna put something on their ass, right?
Yeah.
So and I went and did the Arnold, and I won.
You won the '94 Arnold,
and we released all those pictures in the magazine. So
that was definitely a great comeback for you.
But no, man, I going back to the whole part. I owned a gym. It was 15,000 square foot gym.
Beautiful gym.
Yeah, Dave, you've seen it.
Yeah.
And I was managing it and just doing that and everything. That was a lot of stress as well. Owning that and making sure the bills are paid every month. My overhead was like $67,000 a month back then.
That's a lot.
And I had a lot of employees, and I just opened a gym in 1993, and at the same time I was competing. So I had other things that was taking up my, business.
Well, it kept you occupied. That probably helped you get through the whole injury thing.
It helped me. Definitely helped me.
Because you're like when you do something, you do 100%.
Yeah, I definitely get into studying about it and seeing what works. But nobody wants to be a failure, so I had to give my gym that attention, and as well as training and everything else.
What did you learn from the gym business? Did you take anything away?
I learned from the gym business.
Not to have a gym.
The most important, the best part about owning the gym is the day you open and the day you close it. Yeah.
Really?
Oh man, it's crazy. Yeah. Everything else in between, you're dealing with freaks, you're dealing with weirdos, you're dealing with
Larry has a gym. He knows all about it.
Types of personalities coming into a gym. You got the perverts, you got everything. It was a roller coaster ride, bro.
It was hard. That gym was hardcore though too. There was a lot of bodybuilders in that gym.
Yeah, it was nice. I used to crank the music up, and I love hardcore rock and roll music, right? Yeah. That's what I trained off of.
Right.
And then you got the black guys that come in and they don't like it. They want to hear the rap music. You got to deal with all that, man.
Well, when Kevin trained, his music was on, and when he left, then I think they changed the music.
So, what was your music, Kevin? You listened to heavy metal,
right? Creed.
I would do the Creed thing when I get close to the shows. I would do Metallica. I would do. My favorite was Godsmack, though, man. Sully, East Coast guys. He's hardcore. I love listening to Godsmack and Alice in Chains back then, in the 90s and stuff. STP, Stone Temple Pilots. Those, that was it for me, man. Metallica.
Kevin liked his music. I used to, because Kevin, people don't realize this, but Kevin would drive to every show. He would never fly. He would drive. And I used to say, why are you driving so far? You just get in an airplane. It's an hour to Columbus, Ohio. He's like, nah, I play my music. I listen to my tunes. I take my time. I drive there.
Yeah.
You don't mind driving. It didn't bother you,
Well, the whole thing about that, Dave, was flying. When you fly, people don't realize that your body goes to another altitude and you hold water.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the reason you told me,
yeah, definitely. But I enjoyed relaxing, taking time.
You get in the car and you were the most laid back person I ever. You were like Ronnie. I never saw you get upset. You kind of just were like chilling all the time, and you.
Yeah, I mean, because you can complain, nothing's going to change. The judges are going to make their mind up, and it's going. The chips are all I knew was I'd done everything I possibly could do. You helped me out for that, Arnold, that time. So
Yeah.
When you know that you've done every single thing that you can do,
Right.
and you've made all of you believe the right choices, you just go into a show relaxed and not cocky, but you're confident, and
Right.
everything just ends up working out, whether you're first or fifth or no matter where you place. As long as you know that you've done everything that you possibly can do,
Right.
then, I was always okay with that.
Yeah, no, you had a good attitude about that. All right, guys, let's discuss 2023. It's a crazy year, for I think the world in general, but definitely for our bodybuilding world. And we saw a change in the Olympia title. But I want to give, sometimes we don't really give credit to some of the people. We always talk about men's open bodybuilding. So I kind of made a list of 10 people that kind of made, or 10 incidents in 2023 that kind of made an impact. Well, I'll start. This is not in any particular order. I didn't rank them, but I want to start with number 10 because, men's physique the past couple of years has gotten to the point where the guys have just gotten unbelievable. The physiques, they're almost better than the bodybuilding physiques, the upper bodies on these guys. And Ryan Terry, who had been a guy who'd been, kind of nipping at the heels of some of these top guys for a lot of years, kind of dropped off. And then he showed up this year and he brought a look that won him the Olympia title. And I have to say, I don't think I've seen in men's physique a guy who kind of was going in the other direction, make another surge and take the title. So I think that one of the 10 most significant stories, one of them has to be Ryan Terry winning the Olympia. What do you got? What's your guys' feedback, Armon?
Good for Ryan.
What do you think of his physique? I mean, do you think it was a well-deserved victory? Or do you think that because it was, I don't think I saw it coming.
I know, like Jeremy came back and then he was real watery or flat or whatever on stage. So yeah, when you come back, he looked really good. And the guys are so big now. People don't realize how the pros their upper bodies, how big their upper bodies are, and to keep that really tiny waist and get those big wide shoulders. They're training really hard now. It's not like it was 10 years ago when the physique guys were a lot smaller. So,
but we were seeing guys like Aaron Banks and winning the Olympia the past year and the Arnold. And then, all of a sudden they went from that big, huge structure with small waist to Ryan, who's kind of just like almost like a piece of granite. He kind of reminds me of like Stallone in like the Rambo movies back in the day, that kind of look, very grainy, nasty, gnarly looking, abs and stuff like that. Kev, what do you think of his physique in terms of, what do you think of men's physique in general?
I think it's, like you were saying, I've actually, looking at it, online and then actually seeing those guys backstage, right? Their upper bodies, their physiques are phenomenal. They're big. They're a lot bigger than what they perceive to be, when you're not at a show, when you're not looking at them, online. But I was impressed, man. Impressed. They have, actually, Ryan has good structure, looks good, and just came in shape. He just came in shape, and it looks great.
Yeah, if you look at the top group right here, hold on, I'll zoom in a little bit. We can get a little better look here. But some of these guys were Olympia champs. Brandon Hendrickson was an Olympia champ, second place. Aaron Banks, was an Olympia champ, before that. So this was, very rarely in you don't see it in bodybuilding. We have like 3 or 4 Olympia champs in the lineup, competing against each other. And I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even know what really won it for Ryan over some of these guys who have the bigger structures. It seemed like maybe his conditioning was a little better. I still have trouble understanding exactly, what they're looking for in men's physique, but
yeah,
the polish.
For the other guys who didn't actually win, they still are winners, right? Because it's like on that night, that given day, that night, in that moment, it's just all up in the air as far as opinion, and always they have to keep in mind that, hey, that's that Olympia stage, but it could have went either way. It could have went either way. That's how That's how close it was.
I almost think that men's physique is kind of like similar to bikini in the sense that everyone looks so good. You can almost rationalize anyone in that top 5 winning the event, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was judging, for 7 years, it was really hard. Bodybuilding's easy, but it was really hard to judge bikini and men's physique because you got the guys, here's the guys that look good, here's the guys that look bad, and then like the guys that look good, it could go like pretty much to almost any one of them. They all had different looks, and so it's really hard to judge them. Especially when it started, there was like 40 in each class, and we were having to judge all these guys, bikini too.
Armon, when it got to that, when your eyes just started going like this, and everything just starts looking the same, right? I mean, you're sitting there for hours. I mean, my hat goes off to you guys. I don't see how you do it. Like, I mean, what do you actually start judging when everything starts looking the same? Is it personality? Is it the presentation, how they move, the smile? Does it come down to that?
Well, Kevin, it got to a point where it was just like, men's physique they didn't know what to do on stage. So they were blowing us kisses. They were winking at us. We did an NPC seminar, and we had to tell them please do not wink or blow kisses. We're all the judges and texters are straight. We don't want kisses or wink at us at all. So,
especially in Texas,
it was a tough pill to swallow. Once they came in, because as bodybuilders, we show off, but we're modest. We cover up. We wear big clothes, and then physique guys would come to the shows and be walking around the whole show with their shirt off the whole time. We're like, oh my gosh, this is like so cheesy. And then, judging them,
the Jersey Shore,
yeah. So Kevin, when we judged them, we would really just pick like the top 5. And then the other one just scribble just randomly. So 8 through whatever 40 would just you would have to just scribble them in because you really didn't have enough time to actually judge, pretty much after the 5th place. So, someone got maybe, 12th place instead of 8th, you really didn't have time to judge them. So it made me understand at that bigger level, like nationals, when they had to judge like 40 guys at a time,
amazing how they do it.
You do get looked over. It's hard. I mean, you got to, come out there, whoever, always be holding your pose, because if someone's not holding their pose in men's physique, you're not going to see them or whatever, but you're just like that. I mean, you have the worst migraine. I should have the worst migraine when I get through judging like the bikini or men's physique class.
So how much, my other question is, how much of personality has to do with it, as far as, the presentation, the personality? Can you actually feel, what those guys are doing? Is it,
I think
does it matter?
I think there's a charisma component, Kevin, like that you can just, certain people kind of draw you to them, Oh, by the way, Chris Cormier sends his New Year's regards. He can't make the show, but he would have joined us otherwise, but he's out with friends. So Chris might be drinking a few Jack and Cokes for all I know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's move on to the next. Since you mentioned bikini, Armon, I want to bring up bikini because Ashley Kaltwasser is a pretty amazing bikini competitor. She has won over 40 IFBB pro shows. That's a record for men or women. And Kevin, how many shows did you win? You had
23.
23, which is pretty incredible. I mean, Dexter has about 29 or 30, something like that.
Yeah.
And Ashley has 40 plus wins, and she placed third at the Olymp. She's still placing top 3 at the Olympia. Crazy. So I think she has to be considered one of the extraordinary stories of 2023.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
we have a question for you, Kev. There's a question someone posted. Kevin Levrone, you bench 600 while training. What do you think you could have done if you were a full out power lifter?
I don't know. I bench press 600 raw because I always said to myself, I'm going to keep going until something happens. So for me, I don't know. 600, I guess, with no shirt.
Well, you did 1.5 reps with 600. So
Yeah, I'm not the guy that's going to put on a shirt and all that
Yeah.
stuff, man. It's cheap. So 600.
Kevin would have done 1,000 pounds probably. That's what I say. So Kevin you would have been gifted at anything you did. You had a good squat too, right? What were you squatting, like 700?
Yeah.
For reps.
I did 780 for like
wow,
five one time.
That's insane.
Because I went to the gym
with full range of motion too. You would do that.
Yeah. I was squatting all the way down, and Gunny, he was loading. Well, actually, I would never let nobody load my plates, but for some reason I was doing something, and I walked away, and he said, "Come on, let's just do this." And I walked over, and I think I thought it was 6 something. And I got underneath of it, and I just started going. I had my leg wraps on and my belt and stuff, and I had one guy on one side, and he was in the back. I banged out about 6 of them. I think it was about 6. And he said, "You know how much that was, right?" And I said, "No." He told me how much it was. I was like, I got pissed off because I was like, "Damn, man, I could have hurt myself."
Right. That's funny. Yeah, a lot of it's mental. It's a mental game. A lot of lifting too. Yeah,
it is, man. I remember one day I would warm up with 315, and then I go to 405, and it just felt light squatting. And I put 500 on. I didn't have shoes. I didn't have a belt. I didn't have anything, and I did it for 20 reps all the way down to the bottom. And I was like, it was too light. I got pissed off. So yeah.
I had a lot of trouble passing 600 because I think it was a mental thing in my head. It was like that 600 number was, and you know what? Someone did something similar to what they did to you. They stuck an extra plate on there, and I didn't realize it was on there. I thought I was doing 585 or something like that, and I was really doing like 615.
Yeah.
And I banged it out for like 6 reps. And he's like, you just did 615 for. I said, I did. So it was totally a mental game.
Yeah, definitely.
What was your best deadlift, Kev?
What's that?
What was your best deadlift?
I was not really a deadlifter, Dave, to be honest with you.
You didn't deadlift?
Because I heard that, it makes your waist wide and stuff.
Yeah, that's
for bodybuilders, you know what I mean? So yeah. I just kind of like stayed away from it.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, do you think you could, like all the fancy equipment today, like all the Panada, we were talking about the other day on
I won't even touch it.
Dave and us. Do you think you could have built your physique
no.
with that all those machines that they use today?
No.
Yeah. That's what Dave and I were talking about the other day, and Larry. Like I don't think
you have to look at the videos. I can look at some of those videos and see those guys training on that equipment. And you can see actually why their body parts are like missing. There's certain body parts that don't have sweeps to them and everything. It's because those guys aren't doing, free weight squats, full range of movements. There's something about like barbells and free weights and shit that, you're getting full ranges of every single thing. Tendons and ligaments are firing that. Those machines are protecting you and guiding a lot of stuff, and it's balancing you, right? So
it's the balance.
The balance, man. You just don't know how much, they could have so much more developed if they just stick with the basics, deadlift, squats, and bench, and then build up from there,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I mean, all of us back then, used barbells, dumbbells, free weights,
You didn't even think about the machines. And there were machines.
And that's probably why they look different too,
Yeah. There were machines, but people just used the machines as like accessory movements, like maybe like a third or fourth finishing movement was the machine, but you did the free weights first all the time.
I would only work out on machines when I would get like probably like 6 weeks out, and I need to do like flies and high reps and stuff, easy curls on the but you can't, So
they miss it. They get that. They don't get that fibrous look, like all through the chest and shoulder area. They're missing all that.
Deep
They're big
cuts and striations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's what's missing.
If you remember back to when you first started lifting, I tell people this all the time. Remember that first time you tried to do a bench press, like in high school or something like that, whatever you tried, and the bar was like all over the place and like you couldn't balance it. And it was like, whoa.
Exactly.
Because that balance is like a learned behavior. It's not just a muscle behavior. It's a nervous system. Like you're building nerve pathways to be able to balance this thing and move it. And when the nerves grow into the muscle, they innervate the muscle more and they activate the muscle better. So if you let the machine do that for you, you're not getting that extra.
You're not getting that mind-body connection.
Right.
You're not getting it because there's something about when you have that weight and you got to balance that weight.
Yeah.
And you know, with that much weight, you can just tell when it's not balanced on your back well. Yeah. Even your feet, everything has to be equilibrium has to be firing, man.
Right. Did you ever squat, Kevin, and for some reason someone forgot to put a 5 pound on one side, so one side is 5 pounds heavier? You know it. You know when you go down. You can be squatting 600 pounds. You'll know there's a 5 pound missing on that fucking bed, on that bar. You know,
put it on machines, and you can't really tell the difference.
You would never be able to tell. Larry, what do you think about that? Because you're a big training guy.
So I started with free weights in the beginning. And then when I trained with Mike Menser, he had me doing a lot of Nautilus equipment.
Yeah, he was into that.
But I felt like, you know, even though the training intensity was high and I didn't feel like the muscle wasn't working completely the same way.
Yeah. How come he didn't do his heavy duty stuff on free weights? Why did he only do it on Nautilus stuff?
He was just stuck on Nautilus and Arthur Jones at the time. But we did a little bit of free weights, but it was mostly Nautilus. But I always felt like there was something missing, especially like a back workout.
Yeah.
Like right now, okay, my traditional back workout was pull-ups, heavy bent over rows, heavy deadlifts, heavy one-arm dumbbell rows. And now I got a little injury in my lower back, so I'm using, you know, pull-down machines and the hammer strength row and flex row. And I mean, I train really hard on it. Right. But I don't get that soreness in my back, no matter how hard I train on it. It's like normally when I did that free weight workout after a back workout, I felt like I get hit by a car. The whole back side just was like,
yeah.
And now I go all out failure, force reps, drop sets, the whole thing. But I don't get that soreness, not the same way.
Right.
You're just not working all the muscles.
Yep, I agree.
That's so true.
All right. Next story. I guess this would be story number 7. Sydney Gillen. Well, no, you know what? Let's go to Andrea Shaw first, because Andrea Shaw has won her 4th Miss Olympia bodybuilding title, and she won 4 Rising Phoenix titles. She's probably made, I think, the most money behind, except for like the Mr. Olympia champ, because the women's bodybuilders are getting paid a lot of money. Between, I know the Rising Phoenix show is like $50,000 or $75,000, and then the Olympia is like $50,000. So she's taking home over 6 figures, every year, because she's winning both shows, and she's done it 4 years in a row now. I got to say that, I think she's probably underappreciated in our sport, for what she's accomplished. So let's give her a little pat on the back today and say, good job.
Absolutely.
I think she brings just the perfect balance of, she has the muscularity, but she didn't lose the femininity in her face.
No, she didn't.
She looks incredible, man.
I think there's a categorical imperative that there has to be a beauty component to the women's divisions. I mean, because at the end of the day, we don't want the women to look like the men. We want there to be a differentiation. There's a feminine angle to it. And I think that there's certain women in the division, and it seems like the Miss Olympias have figured it out over the years. I know Andrea has figured it out. Lenda always figured out. Even Iris would always come in, all dolled up when she was winning her titles. And, you see it. And sometimes I see some of the women in women's physique and women's bodybuilding with the crazy hairdos and the shaved, heads. And, sometimes it just looks a little too wacky. I don't know. What do you think, Kevin, about that? Are you kind of like a conservative person in that sense?
Very, very conservative. Yes. I think some of them can overdo it, but and like you said, Linda Murray and Iris and them, they still, and the champ here, there's a sex appeal to it that they're bringing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm looking at her, God, she looks phenomenal, but then, there's a sexy side to it. you know, yeah.
And I think it's important. I think it's the onus of the competitor to figure out what the look is and to go after it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not just about muscle. And even in the men's divisions, I've seen guys lose shows because their tan was terrible. Tan was terrible. I mean, you've seen that, Kevin. I mean, how many coats of Pro-Tan back in the day? Because there was no spray tanning. Kevin, how long would it take you to get tanned up?
I would have to start 3 days out, bro.
Tell them, please. I want to hear. Please say it,
dude. 3 days out.
Yeah.
3 days out. You got to start. I would put on like 9 coats, you know.
And Kevin's part of it. He still did it. Yeah.
You put it on. You let it set. You sleep with it. You let it dry. You got to get up, shower the next day, put another 2 or 3 coats on, cover up. Like I would start paint myself Wednesday. Show was Saturday. First coat will go on Wednesday. You know, 2 on Thursday, 4 on Thursday, some on Friday. Wake up Saturday, shower for prejudging. Maybe put a little one more on. It was Pro-Tan, dude. It was that stuff would be all over the place.
Yeah, and you had to stand up and let it dry too. You couldn't lay down after you put it on.
Yeah, 3 days before, 4 days before.
These guys have it made today with the spray tanning. You know, it takes 10 minutes. You know.
Well, it's hurting them. All these shows now, they have the tanners and they barely spray them anymore. And you got to tell.
I have my clients go and yell at them and say, "Look, I want an extra coat. I'm paying you $150. I want more coats. This is not dark enough. Sorry,
Dave. I would go.
You really have to get into it with them.
I would go through like 8 or 9, close to 10 bottles of Pro-Tan.
Oh, would you really? Yeah, me too. Yeah, not that many, but yeah.
Yeah, stuff
because you always had very good color on stage. I never saw you with bad color ever. Never.
Well, then back then we used to get in the tanning bed too. Remember?
You have to. Yeah, you should have a base tan. I see guys that are so pasty white and they think the spray tan is going to cover it all. It's like painting a wall, you know, black that has like a white under. You can't do it. You got to have a base coat under it first before you put the color on, the final color on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right, let's go to Sydney Gillen, who deserves mention. She is now a 7-time figure Olympia champ here in 2023. Wow. I mean, she's just one of the most. I think she might be the most dominant figure Olympia champ of all time. Now, I remember when she won her first Olympia. I think she was like 19 or 20 or something like that. I said, this girl's going to win 10 Olympias. Yeah. Unbelievable. And she's not too extreme. You know, I think figure got a little too big for a while. Not her. But I think figure in general, some of the girls were starting to look like women bodybuilders. And I think she's like a perfect balance of what they really want, you know.
She just has
conditioning.
V-frame.
Yeah. What'd you say, Armon?
Some of their conditioning was just way too overboard for figure, like for legs. And I mean, the cross striation and veins. I'm like, that's not what figure's about. They've gone too far again. It's just like the women's physique. Those girls are so big now. It's just.
Speaking of beautiful women's physique competitors, we got Natalia Coelho in the chat. Congratulations. She won the Olympia last year. She came in second this year. She lost it. I'm sure she's going to come back and win it again.
She should have won. Yeah, she should have won.
One of the most beautiful, women. She knows how to doll herself up and do all the right stuff on stage. So she'll be. She turned pro in figure. I remember when she was 19 years old, I believe it was, and she had cross-striated quads. I said, "You got to go into women's physique," and so did everyone else. Told the same thing. So.
Yeah, she's great physique.
I noticed this year she toned it down a little bit with the conditioning.
Who did?
Natalia.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah, she was lean, but she didn't display the striated quads, or at least she wasn't flexing them to try to show it.
Yeah,
she looked the same to me.
I thought she looked the same. I thought that Sarah came back, who won, Sarah Villegas. I think she just came back a little better than she was the year before that, and it was close. It was a coin toss, and I think that maybe a bigger structure, but they're so close to doing that. They're going to be battling for the next 3-4 years for sure. And I don't know what the age is on them. I think Natalia's younger, so she's going to be around. She'll probably be around 10 more years. The way she's going, she looks amazing. So love her physique. All right,
does it seem like these girls do have a longer career than the guys?
Yeah, because they don't abuse themselves as much. You know that.
I mean, Ashley's been out there how many years now?
She's been quite a while. Well, I think she won the first Olympia when she was 19. She was really
Kevin,
right.
The guys are taking 30 IUs of GH a day now.
Well, what?
Yeah, they're taking 30 IUs of GH.
There's a lot. People are pushing the. Kev, you took 4 IUs back in the day.
Well, Dave, you know how much I took because
I know.
you brought
I told
it
you
down
what to do.
from New York and you gave it to me.
He showed me the Humidrop in the refrigerator.
Look, listen,
but they were real.
Let's do this. Let's just do this because a lot of people always say they're bullshitting and whatever it was. Dave, you know what I was taking.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
He was on 1,000 milligrams of testosterone. He was on 4 IUs of Humitrope taken per day, and he was taking. I think I brought you some Primabol tablets. You were taking the like 50 or 75 milligrams of Primo acetate tablets, and you were on 3 Parabol in a week. That was it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Kevin remembers it, but when he was coming back, what was it, 2015, 14? What was?
No. Oh, that comeback. Yeah.
Yeah, we spoke. We text back and forth, Kevin, because Dave, you gave him a number, and I'm like, we were talking about GH, and you're like, Kevin's like, all I need is like 4 IUs a day. I'm like, Kevin, they're doing like 15 minimal. He goes, I don't care. All I need is 4.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
I was like, that's crazy. I was like, wow.
You know what? I think the drugs were better back in the 90s because I think there's a lot of fake stuff out there now,
I think you're right,
and I think that's why guys take more, to be honest with you. But
there's some people who are just straight up nuts. I just did a video recently. I said 3 to 4 units a day is most you can use because then your body produces some somatostatin to offset.
You know what?
Yeah,
you're 100% right about that.
Then you have this Chase Iron guy talking about he's taking 23 units a day.
Oh, geez, that guy Larry, that guy's crazy, bro. Like,
you know what? And
nuts.
I know, Kevin, I know this irks you too. I love when you get these younger guys that think they know more than everyone else that preceded them, and they say, oh, those guys don't know what they're talking about from the 90s. They're just old guys. They don't know. This is the new way to do it. Well, guess what? The guys in the 90s look pretty fucking good. So obviously they must have known. That's why I get a laugh, because it's like we figured out how to use the drugs already. There's no new drugs on the market that anyone's using.
No.
So it's all the same steroids and GH.
No.
So we figured it out, and look, you can look at the physiques to prove that. Ronnie and Dorian and Kevin and Flex. Everyone knows the right dosages. The only reason I could potentially think of people using more drugs today would be because maybe they're fake or underdosed, or maybe they're just delusional. But there's no reason to use more than what we talk about, the 1,000 milligrams of testosterone.
Well,
or use a GH.
They relying now on the machines and the not training hard. They don't want to suffer.
Right.
They
And we're not
think it's
talking about the
easy.
elite. We're not talking about the Olympia guys. We're talking about the guys that are, the bro guys on Instagram is what you're talking about.
right.
Yeah, the ones that think they're doctors and they think they know everything, super trainers and all of this, and then they go after guys like us. Oh, those guys are lying. Those guys are bullshit. Those guys are this. And half of them guys never even stepped on stage or even have the balls to step on stage.
Which takes us to our next story, which is maybe I didn't want to put it at the end because I don't want to leave with the depressing note, but that we've lost a lot of people in 2023, a lot of top level bodybuilders. I want to kind of just mention some names. I mean, and this is not all of them, but I think I got hit the main ones. Lee Banks passed in 23. Tanya Knight, who you knew, Kev, back in your day.
Yeah.
Mike Quinn, who you competed with, died. Gustavo Bedell, who competed, for many years as a top guy, third at Olympia behind, Jay and Ronnie. Lisa Lyon, who was a pioneer in women's bodybuilding, died this past year. That Joe Lindner guy, Joe Aesthetics, who was a big Instagram guy, died. Superstar Billy Graham died. Dawn Whittam, who was a women's bodybuilder. Amho Height, who Chris Cormier was married to for a while and has a child with. Well, I'm actually friends with the son. Manuel Lomelli, he also died. He's from Mexico. Or was he Mexican, or was he what national? Was he Venezuelan? I think Manuel. Larry, do you remember what nationality he is? Manuel.
I think he was Mexican.
Yeah, he was Mexican. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of big name guys, and you know what? We lost 3 people this past. Actually, 4 people this past weekend, which is really, really depressing. because every time I got another text from Dave Lieberman, because Dave Lieberman and I always text each other with the gossip. I'm like, Dave, please don't tell me another person passed. He's like, and then I texted him with someone that I found out. Joe Ladnier, he died. He was a big powerlifter guy and competed at the Masters Nationals in bodybuilding. He died. A client or someone, Eric Bergeron, who I met at a guest posing. He was from Vermont. His brother contacted me. He was a 300-pound guy back in the day. He passed. And then, who's the guy in California who just died too? I can't remember.
Powerlifter?
No, there was another guy who someone just sent me that passed also from California. Let me look up his name. I want to give his family credit, and tell him, send out our condolences.
And these people are not past 50 years old, are they?
They are past. Most of them were in the 50s. Yeah, Joe Ladnier.
That shouldn't be happening.
Raul Faulkner, he was Mr. California. He passed. And I got a call today. I got a text. I'm not going to say from a friend of mine who said that, did you hear Jason Arntz passed? And I'm really good friends with Jason. I said, no freaking way. So I texted Jason, and he actually got back to me. And I was like, oh, thank God. I said, Jason, I couldn't take another day. He was very close with him back in the day. And and then I get another text right after that. And it's a guy I kind of will text with every once in a while. He's like, Dave, I don't know if you know Jason, Alar, who you've been, he's a client of mine. I just signed up. I've been working with him for 3 weeks. He died. So it wasn't Jason Arntz. Someone mixed up the name, and it just so happened that it was someone that I had just started working with. I think he had a heart attack or something like that in his sleep or something like that. So terrible. I don't know what's going on with this holiday season. I don't know why so many people die around the holidays. I don't know if it's depression
or Thanksgiving in December, man.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's depression. I think that has a lot to do with your happiness in life for you to keep going. I think that's your will.
And a lot of these deaths, some of them were suicide. Some of them, like Tanya, had cancer. They're not all like from the same thing. They're not all heart attacks. So it's people die. It's just it seemed like we had
people do die.
So the past 3 years, Dave, the past 3 years have been really bad. Just horrific. 25%
to 30% uptick in overall deaths around the world.
Is that what it is?
25 to 30% uptick in overall deaths.
Why are you standing in the dark over there?
Because I have to be outside. It's the only place I can. I'm out of
a flashlight on your face or something.
What's that?
You need to get a ring light, George. Get a ring light.
There's a light above. I'm outside at the pool, by the pool.
You're fine.
Cold out here. It's 62.
I know it's cold by me too. Florida. It's 50. It's in the 50s by me, which is crazy. Yeah.
Is it 50s by you?
Yeah. It was a little chilly today.
So I got a question for Kevin. Kevin, what kind of training are you doing now? Are you doing more like athletic training?
Just agility training, like speed and conditioning stuff. My son, he plays football, so when he goes in, for his football training stuff, I'll normally, do some stuff like that.
How old is he?
Box jumps.
Yeah.
How old is he, Kevin, now?
He's 17.
Oh, wow. So how is he athletically inclined?
Oh, you mean far as his athletic ability?
Yeah, is he good? Is he good?
Yeah. He's fast. He's a good athlete. Yeah.
Well, your genetics. That's why I want. Has he tried to train to see if he can get bigger yet?
No, because he just wants that football stuff, right? Those guys think different.
Right.
They're not like crazy hardcore like we were. We were insane.
Right, but do you ever wonder? I wonder if my son actually trained like a bodybuilder. If he'd have my genetics.
Oh, he does. He does have my genetics.
Oh, he does.
Okay. Yeah, I look at his belly muscle tie-ins and everything.
Right.
I'll send you a picture later.
Okay.
The guy's back. His back is better than my back.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think
but he doesn't have that though.
Oh, he doesn't?
That crazy switch.
Thank God he doesn't have that.
He doesn't have that. Well, he has it for football though, doesn't he? Or he doesn't have it for football.
He's got it for football, but he's fat. The football players don't really need to have it like that. I think the Ray Lewis days are gone for those guys as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not even allowed to hit people that hard anymore.
Yeah, they've softened the game up now, man.
Okay, you're
it's not like it used to be.
100%.
Bodybuilding's a dark place. You go to a dark place in bodybuilding. You know, it's just like
we
yeah,
certainly
I mean, it's dark.
did. I know I certainly did. I mean, it was the moments, man. Yeah, you're you know, the choices that I had to make. It was like and I always I tell people when they ask me, well, I want to be like you, I want to do this, and I'm like, you don't understand, man. It's like my father died when I was 10. My mother died when I was 19.
It's crazy, yeah.
I was pissed off. We're at my dad's funeral. My aunt died at his funeral.
Oh my God!
My father
really?
died December the 18th. And then when we're at he buried on Christmas Eve. So we're sitting there, and then we get the phone call that same whatever. My aunt died on Christmas Eve.
That's crazy.
We were burying my father on my brother's birthday. So it was like,
wow,
part of that insanity, right? And then you rip your chest, and then you don't have any. You know what I mean? Both of them died from cancer, so I started working out and training after that because I wanted to go to the gym and be healthy. And then talk about death. So it was my dad and his sister 4 days apart. Then the month later, my grandfather died.
Oh my
and
God.
my mother's sister died. And we buried and my cousin Larry, he ended up getting shot and getting killed. We buried like 6 people in a matter of 4 months.
Oh my God. That's depressing. Wow.
It's crazy. I remember growing up, I was always at funerals, man.
Do you did you like? I know this happened to me. My mom died of cancer too when I was 14, and I always had this. I didn't worry about it, but I lived my life like I'm not going to have like regrets because I was afraid that I would get cancer if I did things that I didn't really enjoy doing, and like I thought it was like a psychological thing. Like if I didn't do what I really enjoyed and had passion for, I was afraid I was going to get cancer and die. Did you ever have that feeling inside?
No, I always have the feeling I can't do what I want to do. I got to watch what I eat. And I have the fear of.
You went for bodybuilding. That's not a safe bet. That's you kind of
because well, look, it took for my mother to die for me to make the decision to start getting on some juice because I said, you know what, I don't have anything else to live for right now, and I'm going to put my life on the line to go after this passion that I wanted. And I at that moment I knew that I was taking my life in my own hands.
Right.
You know, the most scariest thing is to take something like a steroid and put it in your body and you don't know what's going to happen because you've heard all these horror stories, right?
Sure.
And you just don't know. And I know how I felt when I first did that. I was like, damn, what's going to happen? And but you just, I don't know, man. Something just clicked to where I just didn't care about anything anymore after my mother died. And I just went to the gym and trained and bust my ass. And next thing I knew, everything just started happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sometimes you need that pain, Kevin, to get to that next level. Sometimes I think people don't have the pain. They can't go.
They don't have it. See, people don't realize they want the success, but they don't want the suffering that comes along with it. You know, they don't want the suffering that comes along with it. They would. If God had to say, hey, listen, you know what, you're going to be a great bodybuilder, but your father's going to die, your mother's going to die, your brothers are going to get shot and murdered, and all this stuff is going to happen. You're going to rip your chest. You know, you're going to go through all of these challenges. I probably would have said, you know what, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, of course you would.
You know, going through that, and then whenever something happens, you don't know the outcome. You know, you don't know the outcome when you go in the gym. You start training from, you know, I remember I was 158 pounds when I first started working out when I was, you know, teenager. And I graduated high school, I was about 158. You know,
wow.
And you just don't know. You're on this journey, but over years and years and years, and time and valleys and people saying you're too small, you can't do it, and the negativity and this and that happening. You have nobody to talk to, but something just happens and clicks inside of your head when you start seeing yourself get a little progression, you see a little belief, you see a little bit of this. Then you go out and you win your amateur show. Okay, that's a little bit of hope. And you stay on that path and you just keep grinding and digging deeper and deeper and deeper. Next thing you know, man, you're just in a zone, right? You're locked.
Yeah.
I missed 7 years of my family's family reunions.
Oh, I'm sure. When you're bodybuilding, you're so selfish, right? I mean, you won't cheat. You won't go to the parties.
I wouldn't even go. I wouldn't even go to the family reunions. I didn't want to be around. Well, mostly for me, it was because it reminded me of my parents when I saw my brothers and sisters.
Well, I can't even imagine how you got through holidays, Kevin, because I know I get depressed, and my mother didn't even die on a holiday, but that's when you remember them, and your whole family died on the holiday. I mean, that had to
everybody in my family died from cancer, man.
Yeah,
Kevin, and that's kind of like Joe, from the Bible. Like, did you have your faith back then? What got you through all that?
I did. What got me through it, because I remember the look on my mother's face when I was sitting at my father's funeral when I was 10 years old. He died within 2 weeks and got buried on Christmas. We didn't have a Christmas tree that year. And I remember looking up at her and I said, Mama, I said, if you said God is so good, then why did you take Daddy? And I remember her looking down at me. And I said, why, if God is so good, then why did Daddy die? You know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to know those answers. And she says, Kevin, God always knows what he's doing. Never question God. He always knows what what he's doing. And I looked up at her and she never cried. I didn't never see her cry over my father's death. And I saw that strength in her, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think that kind of like stopped me from complaining about whatever situation I was in, to just endure the pain.
Right.
And just cope with it and deal with it, because I never saw her cry. And it was 7 of us she had to raise, and she never got remarried or nothing. And I was 10, and we were all 2 years apart.
Wow.
And I just saw that strength in her, man. And I think that just lit it. I said, damn, she could. I remember that, and I just endure all pain. Whatever I have to deal with, I'll endure it without complaining. And I think that it just gave me a different insight about training and going to the gym, and about life, and about taking on obstacles and opportunity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think, after hearing it, you tell this, I don't think you would have been the bodybuilder you were without.
No, that had to happen. It had to happen in that sequence. So now when your question was close to God, I've always questioned God. Well, why this? Why this? But I've never gotten my answers. The time when I would ask those questions, I would never get that answer that day, that year, nothing. All I know is I got the answers now, because if I didn't go through that, the world will never even know my name right now, because I would have never got into bodybuilding, and I would have never had that mindset to continue and to go through all those vigorous obstacles and be here today, right? So that had to happen for me to have this, who I am.
And that mindset is, Kevin, and that don't discredit yourself. That mindset also made you a crazy, super successful supplement company owner.
Yeah.
Too. People don't know the work ethic. I mean, this guy travels every weekend throughout Europe. I mean, he doesn't stop, and his company is very, very, very successful out there.
Yeah, Dave, I hit 23 different countries this year. And I went on tour with my company starting in spring. I miss all of my son's football games for the whole season except one, which is the Turkey Bowl. And I'm, living in a hotel by myself on the road.
Yeah, impressive.
Missing all of my son's games and everything like this. And you figure, man, what am I doing? See, people, like I always say, they think, oh, yeah, well, I can do what you can do what somebody else do. No, you can't. There's a whole lot going on deep down inside that's driving somebody to do that, right? And for me, it's okay. I enjoy it. And, you got to go through those things. I had to go through that place to get to this place.
Right.
And it's okay, man. It's okay, So
someone has a question for you, Kevin. When you travel to the East, such as Dubai or Saudi, how is the crowd for your celebrity status? I know you're getting a big reception, right?
Yeah, it's incredible all over the world, man. Also here in America, everybody's been tremendously supportive and respectful. And I love my fans. My mother always said one thing. She says, "Do more for other people than you do for yourself." That's one of the things she told me before she died, and I never forget that. And she said, "God will take care of the rest." So I do it for them, man. I show up, I stand there 8-9 hours, jet lagged and tired. Everybody gets samples, everybody gets products, t-shirts, gift bags, gym bags. And some of the stories I hear, from the kids, some kids have fighting for cancer, 17 years old. Some kids just say, "Hey, I'm at the end of my rope, and this boy told me, he was 15 years old. He said, "I wanted to meet you before I decided to kill myself." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he had stood there in line for like 4 or 5 hours, and he was just kept staring at me. And I'm thinking, man, what does this kid want? And so at the end of the day, I said, "Man, what's going on?" He said, I came to talk to you." I said, "How old are you? Where are your parents at?" He goes, "I'm 15 years old." I said, "Where you live?" He says, he got on a train. It took him about 4 hours to come to see me.
Wow.
He said, I want to talk to you." I said, "What?" He says, I need you to tell me my purpose for living before I decide, because I want to kill myself." I'm like, "What's going on, man?" He said he was molested since 7 years old from his older brother. So you hear stories like that, and it stops you in your tracks, and it hits home. I embraced him, I hugged him, I said, "Look, bro," I said, "no matter what you're going through, man, it's the season, and you're going to get through on the other side. You're in a dark place." I said, I can feel your pain." And I gave him my number, and I still communicate with him to this day. You know what I mean? And
it's awesome.
And it's kind of give him that strength to move out of the situation, to move out of the house, because he said his dad was an alcoholic. He didn't believe him, but his brother was doing that ever since he's 7 years old, and he's 15. And I can't imagine what it takes for him to wake up and pick his head up every single day and go on, to try to be a man, going through puberty and stuff. So I do it. They give me the strength to do it, and as long as I can continue to touch and impact other people going through something, you know what I mean, then I'll continue to do it, man.
That's great. That's a great story, Kev. I never heard that story from you. So that's you saved the kid's life, basically, is what you did.
We all do, Dave. And then, there's kids that look up to you, and people who need hope. You pour into them. Just, you don't even know it. You don't even know who you out there inspiring. Like, I would never know, because sometimes I always think, man, what am I doing? Why did I do this? Why do I? But our life has a purpose. We sometimes we're living in it, but there are other people outside of it looking at our lives, and it makes sense to them. But a lot of things we do don't make sense to ourselves, but it makes sense to other people, and it helps other people. Even everything that you've came through. Your operation with everything, and continuously going and going. People see that relentless.
Kevin, you took the words out of my mouth. I have to say, that's, sometimes you have to start analyzing and say, why did I go through what I went through? And I'm like, in the last couple, I did 2 shoulder replacements, I did a thyroid removal because I had thyroid cancer. I had an ankle fusion done, 2 ankle surgeries. One was an ankle fusion, and I had open heart surgery to fix an aorta. So, and I say to myself, why would God, put me through this? But you know what? I came out healthy. I mean, everything was fixed. So I think it's just, it's a constant testament to show that, you can still overcome obstacles and have a positive outlook on what you're doing and come out of it with a smile on your face, because everyone has shit happen to them in life. It's no one smooth sails through life. It just doesn't happen. And it's how you deal with the adversity that you're presented with. I mean, as a child, you lost both parents. I mean, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen to a kid, and you beat it, man. You got over it. You came out superior to that. You didn't allow it to make you a drug addict and make you a statistic. So that's admirable.
And we all get together as men, like we're on here now, right? We share our stories and stuff. And And don't be ashamed, and don't be, ashamed or feel bad about whatever you went through in life, because you had to go through those things and make us who we are here today, right? So
Armon's told the story about, how he was addicted to drugs and he's told that story multiple times. And you know what? He beat it. He got past it. And so, I mean, everyone has their obstacles in life, and you got to find a way.
And Armon, look how many kids and people's lives that you've strengthened and helped out, because they looking at you saying, wow, he came out of it. He made it through those struggles, and that gives them strength, man.
Larry was arrested, was kidnapped by the cartel in Mexico, and was going to be killed and assassinated. He escaped, and just from sheer willpower, and he got out of there and saved his own life, essentially. I mean, think about that. That might be the craziest story.
When Kevin was talking, I was thinking, right when I got into bodybuilding, my older brother was murdered.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
13 years old. And that really did something in my head. And that's what got me really focused in bodybuilding. And I think I used the bodybuilding to, I don't know, get through that or bury it.
Yeah, well, we all use bodybuilding to muscle up our soul a little bit, to strengthen that, and make us a little bit more invulnerable to emotional pain. But sometimes, eventually you got to deal with it. It's just.
But you have to go through adversity, because that's what makes you who you are. Like Kevin said.
Yeah, I think so. But all right, let's get back to the best of. We have 5 more to do, so let's bang these out. Rubio, Neckzilla, Mosquera. One of the biggest freaks. Kevin, you saw him in person, so I want to hear your firsthand impression of Rubio, because this guy he wins his pro card at the Prague on Friday. Saturday, he's on stage with the big boys in the pro division. He comes in third in that show, and he places behind Samson, who was third at the Olympia, and Michael Crizzo. And now, we're going to see him at the Arnold Classic. This guy has got to be considered. I would say he's the rookie of the year, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. He wins that rookie of the year award. Absolutely. These photos do not do justice with this human being right here. It is because when I saw him, I was like, what is that? What is it? And the only person I ever said that about was Ronnie Coleman, when he took that enormous jump and just showed up. He was walking out in front of me, coming out of our dressing rooms, and Ronnie oh my God, I was behind him. He was like white as a refrigerator. He was like a silverback gorilla, because he was so black and dark. I was like, what is that? It was unhuman, man.
For Kevin to say that, because Kevin was a real freak in his own right. For Kevin to feel that way, it puts it into perspective how crazy Ronnie was.
Like, what is that?
Yeah,
it didn't look normal. It wasn't human. No way. This guy reminds me of that look, and he has that freaky lower body. I've never seen any leg. Ronnie's legs was not that big. This guy has phenomenal lower body. I think he's got to get his hamstrings up a little more, though.
Yeah.
And of course, bring body parts up top to try to somewhat balance them out. Definitely a freak. Definitely crazy genetics. And I think this guy's going to be another. Victor Richards, right, Dave?
Yeah, he's definitely reminds me of Victor.
He's one of the biggest bodybuilders I've ever seen in my life. Victor Richards' quads, one of them was 34 inches, I believe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he's a cross between Victor Richards and Ronnie Coleman, as far as freak wise.
And that's a compliment coming from Kevin Levrone. Sure.
I mean, this guy can make a enormous amount of money and a living off this sport. Even if he doesn't win the Mr. Olympia, if he just market himself right, from the way he looks,
right,
he can make a lot of money.
There you go. That's coming from Kevin Levrone. Armon, how do you think he's going to do up on the Arnold stage?
Man, he's a freak. What do you think about the whole neck? I don't like his nickname, Neckzilla. Since us bodybuilders, we really don't want big necks for bodybuilding. It's like,
yeah, but it matches his body. That's the whole thing. It's like
yeah,
to the rest of them.
that is true. Yeah, I mean, he's 28. So I mean, gosh, it's like I'm thinking when I was 20, I'm like, man, this guy's a monster. I just another few years, and then getting that conditioning, bringing up his his back and his hamstrings. I mean, I think it's a Mr. Olympia in the making if he does everything right and keeps his head there and is able to, go to that place to get that crazy conditioning and all that. I mean,
Armon, that's my question. That's the whole thing. Will he be able to do that? Because me observing his personality and being around him, that's the thing that he needs. That right now, I don't think he has that.
Yeah.
Because we've had a lot of guys, that had that look. You're like, wow, and then they just never. Okay, the next you're and they just never come in that condition, and they just kind of fade out, and it's like, man, that was a disappointment. And they got to suffer. I mean,
yeah, you got how much is he willing to suffer in the gym? Dave, you know how it is the way you were trained, right?
Yeah, well, I think also
you'd be like.
Is he willing to do the diet? Is he willing to get that little extra graininess, that separation, which is it's that death zone you got to go into, like that zone where
Kevin, you got to get on the edge.
Kevin would eat vegetables and fish for weeks on end. He didn't care. He didn't eat any carbs.
No, I would go 2.5, 3 weeks with no carbs, man.
Yeah. and you wouldn't lose an ounce of muscle either. That's the funny thing. So.
I don't think he's the next Trey Brewer.
But yeah, he's got to get that cycle thing right.
Yeah.
And then I mean, we got he got? Chris Cormier.
He's got Chris doing his training. So I think he's going to be a superstar. I think we're going to see a top 5 placing at the Arnold.
Oh, definitely top 5 all day. Maybe top 3 or 4 if he can get the his balance right. But the balance is going to be his greatest challenge. And I it's going to be his greatest challenge. I think he hasn't been working out that long either.
No, I don't think he has either. So he's got that image. He almost is like a big Ramy type of guy.
Yeah, I think this guy's been training 4 years.
Yeah, not that much. Yeah, I think he's just he's a hyper responder like you are. He's got the he grows very easily. So I think it's going to be a matter if he can bring that grainy conditioning. I think that's going to really be the
I saw that picture because I did a little video on that picture. It's like he's tiny when he's like 20, and then he's like 28. He's this monster.
But he still had a nice physique when he was small.
Yeah.
He still had arms and delts and stuff like that. He wasn't he wasn't like Flex Wheeler looked like Michael Jackson when he was And that was an amazing.
He had little cap shoulders and all that. Yeah.
He needs to be in the right environment with his training.
Right.
And I think right now, where does he live?
I think he's in the Netherlands now, from what Cormier told me.
Oh, really?
That's where Chris was going to train him, in the Netherlands. Because I think the sponsor lives there or something like that. So I don't know. I think originally, isn't he from like South America originally?
I think so.
I think he's been living in the Netherlands because that's where his sponsor is. So we'll see. All right, let's go to our next story, which is really a phenomenon. Chris Bumstead, who wins his 5th Classic Physique Olympia championship, excuse me. And the guy, which is maybe more impressive, has got, and I know people are going to break my balls. He's got 22+ million followers on Instagram. He's got to be the most popular guy in the history of our sport,
Yes.
And the phenomenon almost can't be explained. There's no rational explanation for it. The guy is just the it guy in our sport. Kevin, what do you think is it? What do you think is it that attracts people to this guy? Not people in the industry, outside the industry.
Well, I mean, number one, everybody wants to look like him. he has a very his physique, right? I don't know what it is.
He's got a lot of muscle, though. It's not like he's got a small amount of muscle. Why do people all of a sudden like his physique and they didn't like your? They weren't following.
It's just different time. He came along at the right time with social media. He has a very marketable look about him. His body's damn near perfect. Look at him.
Yeah.
right there. You know, he really looks incredible.
Yeah.
The 22 million and all those millions of, I don't know where those people come from.
That's why I questioned it the other day. I said it just seems a little peculiar.
But he can put up a picture of him like washing a car and get like what 10 million hits or something on it.
It's incredible. It really is. It is a phenomenon. That's exactly what it is. It's a phenomenon. This picture was liked by 1,519,000 people.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Beautiful girls.
Yeah. Nice, really nice guy too. So, you can't even, you only wish good things on him because he is a good guy. He's not like an arrogant guy. He's not cocky. No. He's very down to earth. And I think
very down to earth.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why too, Dave. That he's just he's just a regular guy, not arrogant.
No.
Right. But, I don't know. It's, some people I think, you ever see these videos that go viral on YouTube and they get like billions of hits? And you're like, why would that video of all the videos get all these hits? And there's no explanation for it. It just was in the right place at the right time, and it clicked and caught on. And that's just the way it works.
Think if classic physique never came along and he was just bodybuilding, he wouldn't have been that bodybuilder where that class was made for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Steve versus Levrone. I want Levrone's body.
Yeah, this guy wants your body. He'll for $2 for $2 Canadian, he'll take your physique. Armon, or let me ask Larry. Larry, Kevin Levrone, Chris Bumstead on stage. Who wins? Kevin at his peak.
Well, I'm a bodybuilding fan, so I'm going to go with Kevin.
Armon,
but Bumstead is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean, his structure, just when he's standing next to everybody else, he's so wide, and he's bigger than everybody, not just conditioned, but he's bigger than the other guys up there.
Right.
His frame takes up more space on stage.
He's structurally better than everyone. That's really what it is. Mm-hmm. That's what classic physique is about. It's structure. It's a structure.
Yeah, it is.
You have to have that small waist with the wide shoulders, and and the tall guys. I really believe. I don't know if you, Kevin, if you agree with me, but I think the tall guys have a big advantage over the shorter guys.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
because it's the Arnold division. I mean, the big guy wins in structure. It's just you can't put more than a certain amount of muscle because you won't make the weight class. So it's like these little guys just get lost, and they can only weigh 170 pounds. How are you going to beat a guy who's 6'2"?
Well, other than Lee, is the only short. Lee's the only short guy.
But Lee didn't have a weight restriction on him. If Lee was a classic guy, he wouldn't be able to weigh more than 170 pounds. He wouldn't be that dominant at 170 pounds, So it's the big guys can hold more weight on their frame. I think Bumstead could weigh 148 or something like that. I mean, that's a lot of weight, to compete against a guy 170. How does a guy like that? It's impossible,
Bumstead has to weigh how much?
I think he could weigh about 148 or somewhere in that.
248.
Sorry, 248.
That's big, man.
You're so obsessed with him, Dave.
He's 6'2". I mean, it's the way it goes.
I thought he was 6'1". He doesn't look 6'2", Dave.
No, but it's close. Whatever. He might be 6'1", but what I'm saying is, if you're over 6 feet, it really expands how much weight you can hold on that body. And he's got small joints, so it's like his bones look like they weigh nothing. He has, it's like the Flex Wheeler phenomenon. Flex looked like he had no joints when he was on that stage. All right. Let's go to the next story. The second most, I think, the most significant story of 2023, and that's Samson Dauda. Wins the Arnold Classic, finishes third at the Olympia. A lot of people felt he could have been higher at the Olympia. Some people thought he might have been the guy who won. I mean, this guy has had an outstanding 2023, maybe the best of the year, aside from Derek Lunsford, who won the Olympia. Let's take a look at him. Kevin, tell us what you think about Samson Dauda. What do you like about him? What do you think?
Well, I met him for the first time this year. Great personality, real nice guy. Impressed me. That was the first thing that impressed me, because he was so nice. I was at Prague. I was backstage at Prague. Did a little bit of emceeing at the Prague Pro Show when he won. Mm-hmm. And I had a first look at, he's a class act. His physique, well balanced. You know, he's balanced, man.
Yeah.
And he looked good, you know, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he has to do to get any better or what he can do to get better. I had him actually, I mean, with his structure and everything, I had him higher at the Olympia, man.
Yeah. I mean, is he capable of getting that grainy look that you had on stage and some of these other guys? You know, some people think, well, not everyone can get that look. I'm of the belief that anyone can get that grainy look, you know, if you diet hard enough. What's your thought on that?
My thought on it, if he hooks up with Dave Palumbo, you know that guy named Dave Palumbo? I know Dave could probably dial him in and get him right. Definitely. Dave can do anything with these guys.
Oh, I mean, if you would take me
no,
out of the
I'm
equation.
serious, man.
Thank you.
Aceto and, you know, guys like that. And, like, we don't know how much he's suffering. So
does he
there's
need
a lot
to do the fish and vegetable diet? I mean, is that – yeah.
You see, you could put him on the whole fish and vegetables for about 3 months and really put that cardio on him in the morning, fasted cardio, and see what's going on.
How much cardio did you do, Kevin, back in the day?
I would do 45 minutes in the morning on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
You know. And I think he's probably eating steak and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot to thin his skin down and everything to get him ripped.
Do you think it's a good idea that he's hitting all these shows back to back, or do you think he needs to take a break? Or you think
I think it's a good idea for him right now because he's getting all that. He's getting all of bodybuilding is a business, and a lot of guys think, you know, I don't want to do this and this. But right now, what he's doing is smart. He can come back and not do so much this year, you know. But he got to make that money while he's hot.
Yeah,
while he's already
he was
shape.
smart. He went to the tour like he used to do, and he cleaned up. He won almost all the shows after the post-Olympia tour there, and he pocketed some good cash for himself. Why not?
He did.
Right?
You know, it's a business.
Yeah.
These guys, some guys get, you know, they get butt hurt because they don't place or they don't win where they want, but they got to realize it's a business, and you know, just got to keep going. You don't
made
get
more money than everyone
shot.
after that '98 Olympia, didn't you?
Of course. Yeah.
Ronnie wins the Olympia. You know, Flex is all upset, and then Kevin goes to Europe. How much money did you make in Europe?
Sure, man. I was cranking it out, man. You got to think back then; those shows are paying a lot of money. It's paying good.
No,
money
I know.
Too.
And you were what, fourth at that Olympia in '98? Or
in
fifth?
What year?
'98.
1998 Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I don't. Probably fourth. I think it's fourth.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I went on tour and I won all the shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you went on, and then he goes on the tour and he cleaned because you
we
were
had like 6 shows.
You were the biggest I had ever seen you in '98, and you know what? You were holding like a little water at the Olympia, and then you went to Europe and you just dried out, and you were like perfect for those shows.
You get time to practice. You get time to play around with your diet. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do.
Yeah, Nasser was third at that show. Yeah. All right, story of the year. Here it goes. As we close in on the year 2024, the story of the year has to be the Olympia win of Derek Lunsford, defeating the reigning champion Hadi Choopan, and you know, becoming, I don't know what number Mr. Olympia is he? I forget. How many Olympia champs have we had now? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
No, no one knows. No, I forget what number he is, but I mean, this has got to be the win of the year. I mean, Derek has been the only man to ever win 2 divisions in the Olympia. The 212 Olympia he won, and he won the Open now. He's young still. He's got youth on his side. For sure, his back shots were the best on stage. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anyone would doubt that. I mean, super nice guy. You know, everyone likes this guy. He's well liked. And give us let's go around the horn. Armon, what's your impression of Derek's win?
It was well deserved. Like in the wrap up, like I said, it could have been given to any one of them. I would have been fine if Hadi, Derek, or Samson got it. And Derek got it. I think he's a really nice guy. I think he has a great physique. But I don't think it's one of those physiques that are just, it's going to be easy probably to knock him off. Just because his height. So you get someone in there with a little more if Hadi comes back or Samson. But I think he's great. And, I don't know why he's getting all the hate. I think that kind of sucks for him. Like, all that.
He's getting hate because he's a nice guy. That's why he's getting hate.
Yeah, and people give him a hard time about his like, oh, you're taking all the steroids, but you're talking about Jesus, and I'm like, just leave the guy alone. Like, they're just picking him apart. It's ridiculous.
By the way, he's the 18th Mr. Olympia. So there we go.
Congrats. I like him, his physique and personality. So that was a good win, and I wish him the best. Yeah.
Kevin, I asked Branch Warren this question, and there's no there's no shame in saying in admitting the truth. I said, Branch, if you would have when you were second behind Jay Cutler at the Olympia, if you had that look on this stage and you were standing next to Derek, who would have won the Olympia? And he said, I would have won. I mean, Kev, when you look back and you were so close to winning the Olympia so many times, I know you can't go backwards, but does it like sometimes say, man, I just was at the wrong place at the wrong time? Because I mean, if you were competing at the peak of your power during some of these Olympias we've had in the last couple of years, you obviously would have been Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's changed hands so many times, right? I know. And I think because it's changed hands so many times, you're sitting there. I mean, I got second 4 times.
I know.
Thinking, man, Jesus, if I was competing today, maybe during that time period, I at least would have had one. Because they're rewarding, they're changing. It's been wow. It's been
they judge what's up there. Sometimes some years it's just not that competitive. Yeah.
I mean, I think the judging is a lot more fair now too. I think back then it was a lot of politics involved.
Do you think that Joe Weider intercalated a lot of his politics into the judging?
Yeah, because Joe Weider told me, he said if my Mr. Olympia loses, then my show is going to be like every other show. And I said, what do you mean? He says every show out there, there's a new champion every year, and they're winning, different. He goes, but people keep buying tickets because they want to come back to see if Mr. Olympia is going to be defeated. He told me that.
I believe it. He was honest.
Exactly what Joe said.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, he owned.
Guess what? It made sense to me.
Yeah.
Guess what? Well, guess what happened, Dave?
What?
Now that aura is gone.
Right.
About the Olympia. Like that whole.
Well, now they actually judge
different.
it. Yeah, they judge it for real now. Yeah.
It doesn't have the hype that it used to have when Joe was around either.
Right. No.
It's just different. Back then, Mr. Olympia was like, that guy was like a superstar. Like, good God.
Right.
You know
what I think it is, though, Kevin? You know what? Back in the day, to see Mr. Olympia, to see the best bodybuilders in the world, you had to buy the magazines. Nowadays, you can go on Instagram. You can go on their Instagram, and you can see that they just ate lunch. They went to the diner and had lunch. And you can look at their videos. You lose it loses the allure.
That's a huge deal.
You saw Dorian once a year. That was it.
Armon, that's a huge deal. It's like, stop with the online prejudging before the Olympia starts, bro.
It's like everybody had an Early Muscle Machine DVD we watched, and all these different DVDs, and that's all we could get to these people. That's all we knew of them, and it was like mysterious.
How many of those videos did you sell, Kevin, back in the day? Thousands, probably thousands.
Yeah, a lot, man. It was just everybody was sitting on the side of the, sitting on the edge of your seat to see what the Mr. Olympia would look like, to see the prejudging, because you couldn't see him. It was just, it built everything up to that day of the show.
Yep.
And if you wasn't at the show, you have to wait till the magazines come out.
You wouldn't even know.
You buy all the magazines just to see him. Yep. But I think if they just stop with the online prejudging, like I say online, I'm talking about the contestants. They start posting pictures 2 weeks out from a show about how they look in the mirror. They got to stop doing that
because they know it influences the judges, Kevin. It's like a marketing campaign for themselves.
But none of them shows up. They don't even show up looking like those photos.
No, they put filters.
Well, they're not on stage filter. It's like they don't have the filter on stage. Then it's like,
Yeah, you put this picture on Instagram. You look so good, and then you show up on stage without the filter, and people think you're out of shape, but you actually look great. You just not as good as Instagram because you didn't put the filters on yourself. Hey, Kevin, I want to really thank you for joining us here on New Year's Eve and taking time out of your schedule and your family. And, it was great for catching up with you and shooting the crap. And I only wish you the best in 2024. Congratulations with your company, all your successes, and you inspired me today. So I know that all the people watching this show are going to feel inspired. I know that you guys on the panel have to be inspired by Kevin. What he said today.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys thank all of you guys, man, for what you guys have done to help the sport be where it is today. And Dave, you and I, we go back 30 years, I think.
Can't believe it. Yeah. 30, you're right.
Close to 30 years,
Yep.
So we definitely evolved and grew up together in this sport. And I want to say thanks, man. Thanks for also just keep pushing it, moving it forward, man. You got a great platform here, man. So
thank you.
I'm happy to be a part of it. So
thank you so
Happy
much.
New Year to all you guys, man.
Happy New Year, guys. And Chris Aceto, I know you're out there with your family. Happy New Year. John Romano with the family.
Yeah,
Happy New Year,
John.
Roy,
Chris,
I let everyone know.
everybody.
Valentino's out with some friends, so enjoy yourself. Don't go to the Sound Factory, Greg, and we'll see you guys back actually tomorrow for after hours, and we'll
Tuesday.
do a little wrap.
Wait, tomorrow's after hours?
Tomorrow's
No,
no, excuse me, Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday for after.
What
Hours. We're almost at Monday. We still have a half hour.
Yeah.
Wait, the next.
Watch the ball drop at your family.
I heard Kevin. I heard you're training MMA now too.
Is that true?
Trainer,
You want to fight Mr. G for some charity?
Oh, well,
No.
well, they got. That's the next thing. Two famous bodybuilders fighting, because now they got the strongman guys. They got Brian Shaw. He's training for a fight in Dubai.
That's right. Yeah.
Really?
In Qatar. Qatar.
In Qatar. I mean, I think it would be cool for two ex-competitive pro bodybuilders to.
Who do you want to see fight each other, though?
Well, I'm just saying, to show that there's life after the
How
sport.
about Dorian versus Kevin to see if Kevin can finally get the title?
Well, Dorian
trains.
But the whole purpose is to show that there's life after the sport.
Right.
In other words, to show that you're moving forward, and as you get older, keeping fit and doing new stuff. Because bodybuilders are athletic for the if they decide.
George, I like to see people fight because it's entertaining, but it's really not the smartest thing to probably do after 50 years old.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm 66. I'm doing it.
Who said that you're sane? I didn't say you were sane. I said it's not the smartest thing to do. I didn't say.
Well, I know. Look,
who are you fighting?
Huh?
He's always fabricating fights in his mind. He never.
Hold on. No, I'm not. You're wrong.
He was supposed to fight Big Lenny. But
Big Lenny, the guy, he made some disparaging remarks about my business and stuff. So I challenged him to an MMA match.
Now they're friends.
And now,
Really?
he realized that he didn't want to train. He thought he was going to just lift weights and go in and have a match. And you know how that works. It's not going to work too well.
This is who he was going to fight, Kevin.
Hey, did you guys see that new picture of Conor McGregor, like with the belt around his head, with his cock all bulged out and his tidy whities?
No, is it on his Instagram?
Probably. It's a weird picture he posted. He's got to be.
He looked like he was juicing. Yeah, he got big.
No, so moving forward. So Kevin, what happened is that we had a press conference, everything, and then we had gotten him someone to train, paid, and he just didn't follow through. So
okay,
kind of quit.
Well, I found a picture, Armon. Hold on, let me watch this.
But I am training for a fight, Dave. I'm going to train. I'm training for a regular amateur match. I'm going to be fighting someone in 5 months.
He looks like Flex Lewis in that picture. they look alike.
That's a weird picture.
He got big. Yeah, he definitely got big.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, I'm gonna let everyone go hang out with their families. Thank you guys, the fans, for joining us. Thank you for all the support over the years. Thank you for all the tips today. And here's to a great 2024. Hopefully, we're going to have a much better year with a lot less deaths and a lot more positive stuff happening to us. For now, I'm Dave Palumbo, and as I say every week, with Heavy Muscle Radio.
The truth hurts.
It sure does. We'll see you guys.
Happy New Year, 2022.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yep.